YouTube, what's good, man? It's your boy Darren. I am the Bowtie Fragrance Guy. We talk about fashion and fragrance on this channel. So if that is you, you like looking good and smelling good as well, I think you're going to enjoy this content, man. So consider subscribing to the channel and make sure you hit the bell icon as well. So that way, anytime I upload a new video, you'll be one of the first people to get notified. All right, guys, it's time to get into it, man. Today, I want to talk about some of my top 10 designer fragrances, or as we like to do here in the fragrance community, I want to talk about 10 designer fragrances that I would keep for life. Now, I'm doing this video because I notice now when I just talk about fragrances, period, and I encompass my niche fragrances, indie, designer, etc., and I do a 10 for life, 9 times out of 10, most of those fragrances are niche fragrances. So, with that being said, I thought it would be good to kind of go back and look at my designer fragrances and kind of give you guys an updated 10 designer fragrances for life. Now, one thing that I've noticed here, man, and you guys, if you've been following me, you know how I feel about a lot of the more modern, newer designer fragrance releases. They're trash, all right? I mean, not trash. I want to call it trash. I mean, they're not bad fragrances per se. They smell great, but they're just redundant copies. A lot of these companies are throwing the same fragrance DNA and just making a small little twist and change here and there, putting a different name on it or calling it a flanker and just throwing it out there. I went into Sephora the other day and I just found out that Valentino has another flanker out. I don't even remember the name of it, but it smells like YSLY myself. Trust me. And I don't remember the name of it. If I can find the name, I'll make sure I put it here in the video. It smells just like YSLY. Well, I call it YSLY because it smells like the Y line, but YSL myself. It smells just like it. And that's what we're getting in the designer fragrance market today. So a lot of these fragrances, obviously, well, all of these fragrances you're going to see on my list are older fragrances. My 10 for life, these are unique fragrance DNAs. They're great quality ingredients. They're not, they were not cash grabs when they were made. There are some great designer fragrances out there on the market. Just a lot of the latest stuff is not it. So I want to talk about my 10 designer fragrances that I would currently keep for life. A lot of these things are fragrances that if I go back probably and look 4 years ago, if I did a video like this, they were probably on that list. But anyway, that's what I'm talking about today, guys. I love doing this kind of stuff. It's fun. I love fragrances. So let's just get into it. So if you want to see what I have on the list today, you know the routine. Keep it locked right here. Let's get it.
The Bowtie Fragrance Guy.
All right, guys, we're back. Thank you so much for keeping it locked in. Let's jump into this video. The first designer fragrance that I would keep for the rest of my life comes from the brand of Dior. All right. Now, this is the old formulation of this. I have not smelled the new ones. Some people say that the new version of this fragrance is good as well. I don't know. Probably will never find out because I have this from the brand of Christian Dior. This is Dior Homme Parfum. Dior Homme Parfum. Guys, this is so good. This is the 2014 version of this fragrance, and it's absolutely amazing. This whole line, to me, is what popularized the note of iris for men in men's fragrances. So you have this one, the original Dior Homme. You have Dior Homme Intense. Then you have the Dior Homme Sport, which is one that I love as well, that almost made this list. Then you have the Parfum version of that fragrance. And this one, it smells a lot, of course, like the aforementioned fragrances because it's centered around the note of iris still, so it's powdery. This is where people came up with that term lipstick vibe, or that lipsticky vibe that you smell in fragrances. And this line popularized that whole idea. Now, it has that at its core, but what they did with this is they added some oud to this composition. So the main notes, chords that you get here, of course, is the iris, so that powderiness. You get some leather, which is the other primary note. and you get a little bit of that oud on the dry down as well. There's some cedar wood, sandalwood in here as well, some other notes too. You know, kind of really help smooth this fragrance out. But this stuff is absolutely dynamite. Not going to find anything else like this out there on the market. They're not, I don't know, don't want to say they're not ever going to make something else this good, but the way that designer fragrances are headed, I don't see it happening anytime soon. But at the end of the day, great fragrance. 2014, this is when designer companies really were doing things, in my opinion, doing things the right way. But this is just a masterpiece. Most of these fragrances on this list to me are masterpieces, to be quite honest with you. And that's why they made the list. So if you can get your hands on this, it may cost you an arm and a leg, or maybe even a kidney. But if you don't mind giving one of those things up, you might can get yourself a bottle of this, man. From 2014, this is the Homme Parfum. All right, guys, the next designer fragrance that I would keep for the rest of my life, and honestly, if you were to put a gun to my head, please, nobody, don't do that, all right? Don't get any ideas. Then I would probably say that this is probably my favorite designer fragrance of everything that I have in my collection. It's from the brand of Thierry Mugler, and this is called Purehavane. Purehavane, my God, guys, this is my favorite fragrance, designer fragrance, for so many reasons, man. There's nostalgia with this fragrance, with this bottle. I love the scent profile. It's everything about it. I always talk about this when I mention this fragrance. It reminds me of my early days when I first got into reviewing fragrances. I remember I did a review of this fragrance and I wasn't feeling well. And I think I was high on some Theraflu at the time and I made the video, to be honest with you. But I talked about this fragrance because when I smelled it, it really changed my whole mindset and opened me up to just the possibility of what a fragrance can really be, man. I love this stuff. Remember looking at other reviews of other fragrance reviewers that I have a lot of respect for that did a review on this fragrance. This, again, there's so much nostalgia in this bottle. But that's not the only reason I chose it. Again, it smells phenomenal. There is vanilla in this. There is patchouli in this, which is really the note that most of the fragrances from this collection are centered around. Of course, you get the cacao, you get the tobacco, and the honey. This, man, this is just, like I said, there's so many good feelings that this fragrance evokes for me. You know, I really honestly get caught up talking about it, but I am pretty sure that regardless of what year it is, 10 years from now, this is always going to be one of my top 10 designer fragrances for life that I would always keep. From the brand of Thierry Mugler, this is Purehavane. All right, guys, the next fragrance up on the list that I would keep for the rest of my life in my designer fragrance collection comes from the brand of Chanel, and this is Bleu de Chanel Parfum. Bleu de Chanel Parfum. To me, the best flanker from the Bleu de Chanel line. I always describe it this way. They turn down the citrus is a little bit, amped up some of the woods, and this is what you get right here. More woody, a little bit more mature, a little bit more masculine interpretation of the original Bleu de Chanel. Again, I don't take anything away from the other iterations of this. The original, the EDP, both great. I still wear the heck out of both of them. As a matter of fact, all of my bottles are about at the same place as it relates to my usage. But this is just my favorite. I'm a little bit more mature now, a little bit older, and this just really speaks to me a little bit more. Lemon, mint, grapefruit, melon. So the citruses are there. You have there's a little bit of spicy nuances in the mid here with ginger, nutmeg, things of that nature. And then the dry down, you get in the woods, sandalwood, amberwood. There's a little bit of labdanum in this as well. This is just, guys, just one of the best designer fragrances ever created. It's so universal. It's so easy to wear. You don't have to even ever think about this particular fragrance as it relates to a season, an occasion, or a reason to smell good. This is going to work in every scenario that you can think of. Love the versatility of it. It smells great. The ingredients are top notch in this fragrance. This is the case with all Chanels, in my opinion. Can't go wrong with this one, guys. From the brand of Chanel, I'm definitely keeping this one for the rest of my life. Bleu de Chanel Parfum. All right, guys, the next fragrance up on the list that I will keep for the rest of my life comes from the brand of Guerlain. And this is L'Instant Guerlain. L'Instant de Guerlain. I apologize. And some people, of course, affectionately refer to this fragrance as Lidge. Now, if you notice, this one has the black ring going around the base of the bottle. So this is one of the original formulations of this fragrance. They changed this particular bottle several times over the course of the years. If you can get one that still has this shaped bottle, I think it's still really close to this one. But guys, this is just, my gosh. Again, these fragrances, the thing about them when I really look at these and I compare them to a lot of the stuff that's being released nowadays, these fragrances just don't come close to the creativity of these fragrances, the quality of the ingredients that's used in a lot of these fragrances, and just the originality that they really presented when they hit the market. You can't find stuff like this anymore nowadays, guys. And this right here is just a masterfully done fragrance. L'Instant de Guerlain. It's such a contrast. You get a lot of the citrus touches up top. There's a beautiful, relaxing tea note in this. You get some lavender. You get some musk in here as well. Again, you have to smell this thing to understand what I'm talking about. Another standout note in this is anise. All right. And this thing is just, when you really, like I said, compare this to a lot of the stuff that you're going to smell nowadays, you'll see what I'm talking about, and you'll understand why a lot of people actually try to get this formulation of it, or again, the one that looks similar to this that's just missing the black ring around here, because you smell a unique quality, masculine masterpiece of a fragrance, and that's exactly what this is. There's also cacao in here as well, so there's a gourmand element to it that I just love. Oh my God. Hard to find stuff like this nowadays, guys. Easily one of my top 10 designer fragrances for life from the brand of Guerlain. This is L'Instant de Guerlain. All right, this next fragrance is going to come as no surprise to those of you that have been following me for a while. From the brand of Tom Ford, this is probably my second favorite designer fragrance of all time, right behind purehavane. This is Tom Ford's Noir Extreme. Tom Ford Noir Extreme, and this is actually my second bottle of Noir Extreme. Again, going to sound like a broken record here, guys. So unique. So unique. Guys, it's so hard to find unique fragrances nowadays in the designer market. But this is such a unique fragrance. When I put my nose on this, it was an instant, immediate love for me. The highlight of this fragrance is a note of coffee, on a cord of coffee, I should say, which is an Indian dessert. All right, which is almost like an Indian ice cream kind of dessert. It has a pistachio smell to it, the way they used it in this fragrance. But this is just a dynamite scent, guys. It opens up with these spices. There's nutmeg in here. When it opens up, you get some rose in here, some cardamom in here. When it dries down, you get this vanilla and sandalwood combination, so it gets really creamy and sweet. It just smells like a dessert. That's exactly what this fragrance smells like. And you guys that follow me know I love gourmand scents, but this is in a really soft, sexy, and really seductive kind of way. Just absolutely dynamite fragrance. Another one that I'm sure will always be in my top 10 for life, from the brand of Tom Ford. Check this out, guys. If you've never got your nose on it, this is Tom Ford's Noir Extreme. The next fragrance up on the list, guys, has been deemed by a lot of people as one of the best designer fragrances ever created, and I won't argue with that. From the brand of Giorgio Armani, this is Acqu Di Gio Profondo. Acqu Di Gio Profumo. This is a fragrance line that the original was released in the late 90s, 96, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken. The original Acqu Di Gio, and it took a long time for them to really start kicking out a lot of flankers, although they picked up the frequency of that over the past 5 years. But with that being said, of all the different flankers that have been released from this, including, of course, the original, this is my favorite. This took what has been one of the best selling men fragrances of all time, the original Acqu Di Gio, and they made it better. They added incense, they added some patchouli to this fragrance DNA, and that took the versatility of it to another level. I'm sure a lot of people, when they smell the original, they really think of that as a great like spring, summer fragrance. Now, that's not the way that a lot of us look at fragrances when we're first getting into them. We just get a fragrance and I don't care what it is. It could be, you know, a fragrance that is just, that a lot of us would deem just great to wear in the summertime, like the original Acqu Di Gio, and we wear it year round. But once your knowledge of fragrances starts to change, and you really start to understand the different nuances of fragrances, and that there are different seasons that different fragrances seem to work better in, etc., you understand how great they did, or what a great thing they did by adding incense and patchouli to that original DNA, knocked it out of the park, increased the versatility, made it a signature year-round scent that smells great wherever you go. That's this right here in the bottle. And that's why it's in my top 10 designer fragrances for life. From the brand of Giorgio Armani, this is Acqu Di Gio Profondo. All right, the next fragrance up on the list that I would keep for the rest of my life in my designer fragrance collection is from the brand of Dolce & Gabbana. This is the One Eau de Parfum. The One Eau de Parfum, still in my humble opinion, one of the top 3 date night designer fragrances that you're ever going to put your nose on. I'm not even going to talk about the performance thing here because some people took issue with the performance. It lasts about 4 hours, but that's all you need for a good date night. I don't know where some of you guys are going, but if you're going out and you're going to be out on a date for more than 4 hours, I don't know what you're doing. But date night, 4 hours, 4.5, 5 hours maybe on a good night. But that's all you need with this thing. It's amazing. Again, go back to what I said earlier. When this fragrance came out, unique fragrance DNA. Very, very sensual and seductive fragrance. All right, you have some orange blossom in here, so that sweetness starts to give that little creamy nuance in a way to this fragrance freshness. In the opening, you have an amber accord. You have tobacco on this as well. This is just, again, when you think about what is quintessentially going to be great for a date night, this one, man, is it. This is it in a bottle. Love this fragrance. All right, absolutely love this fragrance. In spite of the what people would deem as issues with performance, this is still on the masterpiece level for me. All right, performance isn't as important as some people make it out to be. All right, but anyway, that's another story for another day. Get this in your collection, guys. Every true collector, in my opinion, or fragrance enthusiast should have a bottle of this. From the brand of Dolce & Gabbana, this is the One Eau de Parfum. All right, guys, the next fragrance up on the list, we're going back to a fragrance brand that I talked about earlier, and that's the brand of Tom Ford, and this is Ombre Leather. Ombre Leather, really hard to beat this, guys. If you like leather and you talk about the designer fragrance arena, really hard to beat a fragrance like this. My God, this is good, guys. This is good. Cardamom is in here, leather. You get some moss on the dry down as well. So it's just a really masculine leather fragrance. A lot of people sometimes refer to those leather jacket kind of fragrances. This is it right here. So if you're dressed up like a boss, man, you know, this is the kind of fragrance that you want to put on. If you want to give off that kind of bad boy feel or vibe about yourself on that day, this is a fragrance that you put on. Again, when you talk about designer fragrances, you talk about the leather fragrance genre. To me, this is best in class. From the brand of Tom Ford, one I would keep for the rest of my life is Ombre Leather. All right, guys, the next fragrance that I would keep for the rest of my life comes from the brand of Hermes, and this is Terre d'Hermes. I absolutely love this fragrance. Another one that's really nostalgic for me. This made one of my first top winter designer fragrance lists that I ever did on my channel. Man, so many good memories with this fragrance right here. For a while, this was about the only thing I would wear to an office type of environment, because I look at this, I know a lot of people say L'Homme, Prada L'Homme is one of the best office fragrances, and it's a great one, but this is probably the best, in my humble opinion, for a suit and tie office type of environment. Terre d'Hermes, you get that really nice, juicy orange accord in the opening of the fragrance. It starts to get a little bit of spiciness as it starts to dry down. There's a pepper note in here. And then on the dry down, it comes about that to be all about that earthy, masculine essence that this fragrance really gives off. That vetiver, that patchouli, and that flint note, gun flint note in here, just really give this really, like I said, masculine and earthy nuance to this fragrance that is a great contrast for this orange citrusy nuance that you get for the duration of the fragrance. I love the contrast there. Very wearable, very manly and masculine fragrance without overdoing it, if that makes sense. That's why it's so great for an office setting. This is the perfect complement to a suit and tie. What a great fragrance this is. That's why it's one of the ones that I'm keeping. From the brand of Hermes, this is Terre de Hermes. All right, guys, and the last fragrance on my list that I will keep for the rest of my life, I'll kind of go back and forth with this one and another one from this brand, but it's from the brand of Maison Margiela. This is Replicas by the Fireplace. By the Fireplace. Man, guys, this is so good. Again, unique fragrance. Very unique when it came out. Another one that has a lot of nostalgia to it. Reminds me of the great days of being in this community that we call the fragrance community. So good, man. It's exactly what you get. What the name of the fragrance is, that's exactly what you get with this. There's no other way to describe this. It smells like you're sitting by a fireplace. That's what you get with this. But it's chestnut in here. There's vanilla. That smoky nuance, that fireplace smoky nuance, I think is really coming from the warmth of a combination of cashmere and the Peru balsam in this fragrance. But again, you have the chestnut, the cloves in the opening. What an amazing fragrance this is as well. The other fragrance that I'm referring to is Jazz Club. Sometimes when I do like a 10 for life, I go back and forth sometimes with this and Jazz Club, but I think more times than not, I go with this one over Jazz Club slightly. Can't be overstated, I'm sorry, of how good this fragrance is, how unique it is. And that's something that you'll probably see with a lot of the fragrances I talked about today. You look at the brands, they're synonymous with quality. You look at, the replica line, all those fragrances I put my nose on from this brand, quality. Chanel, Tom Ford, Guerlain, Giorgio Armani. Again, quality brands, quality fragrances. That's what's on the list. And this is definitely fits into that category. So definitely one I would keep for the rest of my life as well from the brand of Maison Margiela, the replica line. This is By the Fireplace. And guys, just as a quick bonus, this is definitely a fragrance as well I will keep for the rest of my life from Burberry. This is Burberry Touch. This is the best inexpensive fragrance that you're ever going to be able to get your hands on. All right, just take my word for it. Won't go into a whole lot about it because I did a 10 for life, but this is definitely an honorable mention. This is like my third bottle of this, and I'm already halfway done. You guys know I call this my barbershop fragrance. Not that it's a fougere, but when I go to the barbershop, a lot of times I wear this fragrance. This is the perfect anytime, any place, anywhere fragrance that's not going to cost a lot. It's not going to break the bank, and it actually smells top notch. Burberry is a line to me that does a lot of great quality designer fragrances, and you're not going to have to pay a lot of money for them, which is a great thing. But definitely an honorable mention. I had to throw this in here really quick from the brand of Burberry. This is Burberry Touch. But that's it, guys. That's my time. I hope you enjoyed this video today as I gave you my updated 10 designer fragrances that I will keep for the rest of my life. What are some fragrances you have in your designer collection that you consider to be your top, your best designer fragrances that you would keep for the rest of your life? Let me know what they are down in the comments section. And as always, I sincerely appreciate you guys' time and attention to these videos. I know you don't have to watch, but you do, and I sincerely appreciate that. Now, don't forget to make sure you take a few moments to like, comment, and subscribe. And make sure you are sharing these videos out to some other folks out there that you think could use the information or find it entertaining. Because I'm your guy, Darren. I'm the Bowtie Fragrance Guy. I love to look good, and of course, I love to smell amazing. So until next time, guys, keep looking good, keep smelling even better. I'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.